Emerick Managing Director at NightsBridge joins us now to expand on this. A very good evening to you, and thank you so much for speaking to us. So where lies the confusion and who's the cause of it?
The Gazette came out saying that travel for leisure is permitted. I think the confusion comes in the way that the law is written. These gazettes are written in a way that makes it poses the issues in the negative. So as an example, it said movement of people, leisure travel is now allowed. Then it said moving between provinces you can still only do if you're going to a funeral or attending to a parent or moving a child, so that's clear to everybody. And then it said, as far as places open to the public, that all accommodation is open if it's accredited and licensed, except for home sharing for paid leisure. Now that sentence basically had not and the word leisure in the same sentence, and I actually think that's where people get confused.
So what should it have said? As in what's been gazetted and what the minister said, because she made it clear that there will be no travel for leisure.
I just don't know which part of the legislation or the regulation the minister is basing that on. So the previous gazettes actually said, you may not go to a hotel or a guest house. It mentioned by name that these places were not open. It mentioned very specifically that you couldn't travel for leisure. So, NightsBridge as a company, alongside industry associations like SABC and the Tourism Business Council, we've all looked at these regulations and we're saying, but we can't find, Minister, sorry, why are you saying that? Perhaps the confusion, perhaps the question, it came up during the question time of the press briefing after the minister made her directions clear on Friday evening. And possibly that the question was confusing in the sense that it might have seemed like it pertained to traveling between provinces, and perhaps that is why she answered the way she did. But that is actually not what the legislation is saying, and we are desperate to have domestic travel. It's really important to get domestic travel going as the first part of a phased opening or reopening of our travel sector, because small businesses are suffering.
As I spoke to Dr. Leslie Bamford earlier on, she was saying obviously it's a difficult situation. We were speaking about the reopening of schools. Now you're talking about the reopening of accommodation places. But we have to be responsible, don't we? So while the industry is suffering, is it really a good idea to open up for leisure travel and accommodation, given the fact that we are at a peak period?
I think it's a good question. A lot of people want to obviously get out of a home or a place where they've been locked down for 3 weeks. They want some space, some beautiful open air. I see you showing us some beautiful places in South Africa where people want to feel less locked down. But the issue was, as the president said as well, it was a matter of saving lives versus also preserving livelihoods. And as an industry, we've been working extremely hard at making sure that protocols are in place, just like schools that have reopened in other places. From the smallest guest house to the largest hotel has been working on getting in place the protective equipment, sanitizers, getting their checklists, what to clean, what to do. And in fact, the minister thanked all of those people on Friday evening for all the hard work that they did to get the protocols in place. And on Monday, the directions that came from the ministry actually had those protocols in place also for hotels, guest houses, backpackers, down to the point of directions for families that were traveling together. So some of those directions were clearly not just focused on business travel. We think definitely that people can get out of the city and go and stay somewhere in a safe environment and get a bit of breathing space.
So what is the situation with the companies that you are representing, for instance, the smaller businesses? Are they at risk of completely shutting down, or have many of them done that, given the fact that they've had no business? And I know you said that the recovery plan, or at least assistance that was being offered to some of the industry, has not been paid out, half of it.
Well, there was a 200 million tourism relief fund. Just under half of that has not yet been paid, and I know that was difficult, that was slow. But, also that was only ever going to help a very small part of a very large industry made up of lots and lots of small businesses and peripheral industries around it. So the thing is, it hits a small town very hard. The small accommodation can't open, they have no business. They have been trying to keep their employees by trying to get the UIF temporary relief. Many of them have struggled with that. For many people, their insurance hasn't paid out, even though they had pandemic cover. The insurance companies have said they can't pay or have tried to find reasons not to pay them. Now you have to look at that closed business and the people all around them, from the person maybe who has been selling them fresh vegetables, to the attractions there that can't get guests, to the local tour guides who now don't have anybody to guide, and those local tour guides are the freelancers without the employers who could go and help them get their UIF. So it's really a knock-on effect into entire communities surrounding accommodation places, activity businesses, tour operators, and many, many of them small. I think that's what so many people don't realize. And that is, I think, why the president made that so clear in his statement before these advanced lockdown changes.
Thank you so much for your time. Theresa Emerick, Managing Director of NightsBridge. It's a company that helps the smaller businesses within the tourism industry.